Where is the ring he brought you?
I'm not sure.
Did you look? If it's an engagement ring, it goes back to him.
When he broke up with me, he said I could keep it.
You want to return the ring to him?
I don't have it. I was really drunk, and I lost it.
I don't believe you. She says she lost the ring. I can't wring it out of her.
This is Judy Justice. Erin Van Meter is suing her ex-fiancé, Eric Ellis, for the cost of 2 canceled trips and defamation of character.
Court come to order. All rise.
Thank you. Be seated.
Hello, Judge. Case number 1113, Van Meter versus Ellis.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Van Meter, looks to me as if, from the complaint, you met the defendant online in March.
Correct.
March what?
14th.
When was the first time you saw him?
March 14th.
And when was the first time you bought him an expensive present?
April.
April what?
I'm not sure.
The expensive gift was a piece of jewelry. Do you remember what it was?
Yeah, I bought him a ring.
Remember how much it cost?
I believe the appraisal value is $1,200, but I think I spent $700.
Expensive present for knowing somebody 4 weeks.
It was.
Then the next month you bought him another present.
I did.
What'd you buy him this time?
I bought him a gold bracelet.
How much was that?
I believe that was just under $900.
I want you to think. In March or April, what did he buy you?
He took me to Tiffany's after we had been dating for 3 weeks and bought me a bracelet.
What kind of bracelet did he buy you?
A Tiffany bracelet. Had a little silver and blue Tiffany heart on it.
Remember how much it was?
I don't.
I have that, Your Honor.
Yeah.
I do have it.
I don't want to look for it right now. What else did he buy you in April or May?
In May, he bought me a birthday gift.
What?
A diamond ring.
She's referring to the engagement.
Shh. So you bought him a ring and a bracelet, and he brought you a bracelet from Tiffany's.
Yes.
And your birthday is when?
In June.
June what?
4th.
And when did he purchase this diamond ring?
I believe it was at the end of May.
I have dates for those, Your Honor.
Can we get it?
Yeah.
Tell me when it was.
There was 2 transactions. One was on May 10th. The other one was on the 25th.
What happened on May 10th? Did you put a deposit down for the
It was
ring?
basically covering half of the cost, knowing that I would come back and pay for the other half of the ring.
So it was a deposit.
Correct.
And that was at the same jewelry store at the place where she works? She works in a building and there's a jewelry store
Correct.
there?
It's underneath her building. Correct.
Okay. So how much was the ring?
The ring was $11,500, Your Honor.
Where is it?
I don't know for sure. I'm assuming it's in the plaintiff's possession.
In any event, there came a point when the two of you were no longer a couple. And your claim is that he broke off the relationship quite quickly.
Yes.
He texted you, met you in a parking lot, and he returned all the things that you had at his home, including the 2 gifts that you had made to him, the ring and the bracelet.
I did not see them in the bag.
They're in the bag.
Just a second.
I know that he did give me some of my belongings back, but not all of my
I made
belongings.
sure.
I'm asking you whether he gave you back the ring and the bracelet that you bought for him.
Yes, I did not see them in the bag.
Did you look?
Yes, I did look in the bag.
And they weren't there.
They were not in the bag.
They're not at my house.
Did you put them in the bag?
Yes, Your Honor. I put them actually in plastic bags, resealable so they wouldn't fall out.
I believe him
Okay.
that he returned those 2 things to you that you had purchased for him. Now, it is your claim that during that time, prior to the breakup, you had transferred to him $2,100 for your half of travel expenses for 2 trips that you were planning.
Correct.
In what month, day, and year did you transfer that $2,100?
I have it right here.
Your Honor, I have the date of the Tiffany's bracelet here.
Good. I'd like to see the just cost of the bracelet because he looked for it and found it.
Highlight with Tiffany.
On June 16th of 2021, did she transfer $1,000 into your bank account?
Yes, she paid me by Venmo. I do have that $1,000.
Okay. And on June 11th, oh, I'm not dealing with this. That's the Gmail. That's NC and Jim and Amazon Music Great,
It was for the
$400.
North Carolina
I don't
trip.
care.
It was
I don't.
$400
This
for
is
the
me.
North Carolina
I don't care.
trip.
I don't get involved in people who are dating together, who are commingling money, unless I could actually pinpoint it. This says transfer date. This is Vegas baby, $1,000. That I could see.
North
Period.
Carolina.
End of discussion. And the Tiffany bracelet was $300.
Correct.
Right. Okay. I just want to see if it was,
Sure.
it could be a Tiffany bracelet or it could be a trinket. In this
from
case,
It was from Tiffany's.
in this case, it was from Tiffany's. It was a trinket.
Yep.
But the ring that you bought for $11,500 is not a trinket. Can I see the bill for that?
I have the actual.
Just a second.
Okay.
Don't say anything.
Sorry.
Just give it to me. Now, on what date did you finally say she sent a deposit for a trip to Vegas, and it says that you paid Eric Ellis $1,000?
Correct.
I want to know, was that for a trip that was supposed to take place in the future?
Correct.
Okay.
We were supposed to take a vacation to Las Vegas for Labor Day weekend. And before Labor Day weekend, I broke it off.
Okay.
And I canceled all our plans, our trips. And
Oh, this was in June, and you broke up on July 30th?
correct.
So you still had the whole month of August and whatever, and every place that I know has a 30-day cancellation policy. So what was this $1,000 used for?
The $1,000, she sent me half of the cost for it for the trip.
Okay, that's all. That's an honest answer. Where is the ring he brought you? I don't believe you. Somebody who's a jewelry nut, like you are, who buys somebody the first minute that they see him, that they breathe on him a bracelet, next breath a ring, knows exactly where this $12,000 ring is.
And later today,
I mean, that means that you got to drive a car for nothing, you got the full value of the car, and then you've got $19,000 for being in an accident. That sounds to me unreasonable. That sounds to me unreasonable.
Erin Van Meter claims her ex-fiancé, Eric Ellis, owes for the cost of 2 canceled trips. Eric is countersuing for the cost of an engagement ring.
Now, where is the ring he brought you?
I'm not sure. I believe that it might be in Lake Minnetonka. I was really drunk and I lost it.
Oh, that's really too bad. That's really too bad. Then you don't get your $1,000 back. Do you understand?
Though he
Even
wanted to
though,
go to St.
period,
Thomas.
even though nothing, he spent $12,000 on a ring, which I guarantee you have. Guaranteed you have, that I would make you return to him. And if you're not going to return it to him, you're not getting anything. Do you understand that?
I understand.
Period. Now, you want to return the ring to him?
I don't have it.
Yeah, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. Somebody who's a jewelry nut, like you are, who buys somebody the first minute that they see him, that they breathe on him a bracelet, the next breath a ring, knows exactly where this $12,000 ring is.
brought me
Knows
to
exactly.
Tiffany's
Knows
first.
exactly where the $12,000 ring is. So the only thing that I have to address in my mind is, on what date did you give her this ring?
It was May 29th.
And how do you know that?
I have pictures. I wrote it down. We took pictures.
I'd like to
that
see the
day.
pictures.
I'll have to pull it up from my phone. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
That's the day we celebrated my birthday with my sister.
I don't care. Do you understand?
My sister can witness to the fact that we chose May 28th to celebrate my birthday.
I don't. Do you understand?
I do understand
Yeah,
what you're saying.
I don't believe that you don't have the ring. You want to show me what this $12,000 ring looked like?
I probably have that too, Your Honor.
Okay. This is for your friend, by the way, who you say is a friend of yours, Perry Jeweler. He wrote on the receipt engagement ring.
I'm not denying that it was a double gift of an engagement and birthday present. It was both.
Listen, just like I don't believe you don't know where the ring is, once you lie to me once, you don't get a chance to
I
not
haven't
do it
lied to
again.
you.
Yeah, it was an engagement ring, and you should have given it back to him. If he doubled it as a birthday present, then he's very smart.
When he broke up with me, he said I could keep it, and I have his emails
I did
stating
not say that, Your Honor.
Okay, if you have an email that says you can keep the ring, I'm more than happy to take a look at it. But your jeweler describes the ring as an engagement ring, and if it's an engagement ring, it goes back to him. Well, what I'm telling you, sir, is you are mistaken because you answered her. You did discuss with her returning the ring, and she says, I'm not returning the ring to you because you could say you never got it, So I guess I have to have an attorney take me to court. And that was August 4th. So you must have lost it after August 4th.
I did.
I did. And then he says, because he hadn't spoken to anybody yet, I know I don't have any legal rights to demand the ring back from you. Well, yes, you do.
I realize that, Your Honor.
Well,
That's what
because yes, you do. Because an engagement ring is a gift given in contemplation of marriage. And if the marriage doesn't take place, irrespective, in my legal world and in many jurisdictions, if the marriage doesn't take place, then the contract is broken. Now, you can get married and divorced and you get to keep the ring, but you don't get engaged and don't get married and get to keep the ring.
It was also a birthday gift.
Did you understand what I said?
Yes.
Also doesn't make any difference. If he did a twofer, that's terrific. That's smart for him. But it's an engagement ring. That's what your friend the jeweler said. Your claim is dismissed against him. And the maximum jurisdiction I have is $10,000. She says she lost the ring. I can't wring it out of her. She's lying. Judgment for the defendant on the counterclaim for $10,000. We're finished.
Court is adjourned.
she wants money, and she's desperate to have money, and she tricked and manipulated me to do all of that.
I was being taken advantage of the day he broke up with me and said I could keep the ring.
The judge clearly pointed out that she gave me a far amount of gifts than I gave her to try and hook me.
I really don't know. I got really drunk and I lost it in a lake, and that was after August 4th, after he said I could keep it.
She still has it. Of course she does.
He was out there dancing on TikTok smiling.
None of it makes sense to me.
I've learned to honor my boundaries and that online dating should really be considered auditioning for future datelines.
Be careful and take my time.
I'm going to get a do not contact order.
I know that there is different rules in jurisdictions about an engagement ring. I've been consistent for 26 years that I believe an engagement ring is given in contemplation of marriage, which is a contract. And irrespective of how that contract is breached, if the condition precedent to making it a gift is never met because the marriage doesn't take place, then whoever purchased the engagement ring gets it back. I think once the marriage takes place and the reason, or not the reason, that the marriage dissolves, the condition precedent to the gift has been met, the parties got married, you get to keep the ring. But in this case, she made an excuse that it was a birthday gift because she really knew in her head that if it was an engagement ring, she should have returned it. And I don't believe her. I do believe that he returned the bracelet and he returned the ring to her in the hope of getting the engagement ring back, because that's what the email said. You know, he expected to get that back. And she said, I'm not giving it to you back. You'll say you never got it. And then she told me she lost it. I don't believe her. The right thing happened.
It did.
Case number 1124, Stop versus Arbina. All parties please step forward.
Christine Staub is suing her boyfriend's cousin, Antonio Urbina, for the cost of a vehicle she purchased from Antonio.
Miss Staub, this is your boyfriend. You've been together for about 12 years according to your complaint, and this is your boyfriend's cousin. Years ago, because you don't indicate a year, you purchased a car from Mr. Urbina. In what year did you purchase the car from him?
2016,
What month in 2016?
January.
What kind of a car did you purchase?
2000 Mercedes
What kind?
S430,
Got it? How much did you pay him for it?
$6,000.
You don't dispute that.
Yes, I do.
You dispute that?
Yeah.
What do you dispute about?
What I remember was it was 5,000, and I want to say if she's asking.
No, not asking.
Or-
I asked a simple question.
Yes,
She
I'll give
bought
you
the
simple
car in January of 2016. Is that correct?
Yes,
You dispute the fact that she paid $6,000 for it.
I remember 5,000.
Do you have any proof that you paid $6,000?
I have a witness that saw me hand him the money, and I have proof that I was verifying balances with him for the payments he was making 3 years after the vehicle because he was incarcerated. He started making me payments after.
Just a second. What I don't see is you taking into consideration the 9 months that you drove the car.
But I couldn't drive it the whole time.
I don't care. I don't know whether you couldn't drive the car because the car was sick or because you were sick. I don't know.
Christine Staub claims her boyfriend's cousin, Antonio Urbina, is responsible for the cost of a car.
Okay. Value?
Based on a 90,000 mile estimate, it says between 3,000 and 4,800 for a private party exchange.
That's today. Those are based on
Yeah.
today's numbers.
Yes.
But not back in 2016. That's why we usually do things promptly. So 6 is probably a reasonable number. Okay. This is your problem. According to you, you drove the car from January 2016 until you were involved in an accident. What month and year were you involved in an accident?
October of 2016. That's when I found out he
Just
didn't...
don't tell me find out.
Okay.
So you drove the car in January, February, March. Your accident was in October.
Correct. But there was 4 months that the car was not working.
I don't care.
Okay.
You drove the car. It was in your possession.
Yes.
In January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. What did you have the accident?
I believe October 12th.
So let's say you drove the car for 9 months. Then you had an accident that was not your fault.
Correct.
According to you. And there was an insurance payout.
Correct.
And the insurance payout went to whom?
Dealership that still owned the vehicle.
Because there was a note on the car.
Yes, which...
Just a second. There was a note on the car.
Yes.
How much of a note?
5863.77.
Did you get any money at all from this accident?
For injuries.
How much did you get?
19,000.
What injuries did you suffer?
I had hurt my knee. I fractured a vertebrae. My neck was injured.
What kind of work?
Wrist.
What kind of work did you do prior to the accident?
I've been disabled for the last 8 years.
What was the nature of your disability?
I got very sick and was hospitalized for 3 months and had to have a rib resection and part of my lung removed and had to get work done on my back.
What was wrong with your back?
I have osteoarthritis and I have degenerative disc disease and spinal stenosis, and I've had an implant put in my spine now and everything.
Okay. After this accident, were you hospitalized on October 12th? That's a yes or a no.
We were brought to the ER and then released. I'm sorry.
So the answer was you were not hospitalized.
No.
Were you hospitalized October 13th,
No.
14th,
No.
15th,
No.
16th?
No.
Okay. So whatever injuries that you suffered from that car accident were not sufficient to be hospitalized, and you got $19,000 for the injuries.
Yes.
Now, you drove the car
Yes.
towards this money that she put in the car because there was still a note on the car that was absorbed. And you drove the car. You had the car in your possession for 9 months, which you don't get for free.
Yes, but I also paid their tickets when I registered the vehicle, $650.
I'm actually not interested in that.
Okay.
This claim is 5 years old. Ordinarily, I would say goodbye to you all. But I'm going to be a nice person and resolve it. Because what you're asking for is, of $6,000, he paid you back more than half, right? So you say there's a balance of $2,700, $2,750.
Yes.
What I don't see is you're taking into consideration the 9 months that you drove the car. Even if you paid minimally $300 a month for a rental, 9 times 3 is 27. I mean, that means that you got to drive a car for nothing, you got the full value of the car, and then you got $19,000 for being in an accident. That sounds to me unreasonable. That sounds to me unreasonable.
But I couldn't drive it the whole time.
I don't care.
Okay.
That's why you bring an action promptly. Do you understand?
Right.
You understand?
only
I
did
don't know
this-
whether you couldn't drive the car because the car was sick or because you were sick. I don't know. All I know is you can't rent a Mercedes to drive around a Mercedes for less than $300 a month. And you drove the car for 9 months. You had it in your possession. That's $2,700. That means he doesn't owe you anything. He's finished. On this car deal so far, you made $3,000 on the car, a little bit more, $19,000 for an accident for which you were not hospitalized. I think, Miss Stapp, we're done. Goodbye.
Paid over 4,000 to her.
Just a second. You don't have a counterclaim.
Okay.
And if you paid over $4,000, you're a really nice guy.
Appreciate
Okay?
that.
What she's not factoring in is she drove a car on somebody's dime for 9 months.
Exactly.
Okay, we're done here.
Court is adjourned.
You know, it sounds pretty accurate to me.
I don't think it was fair. I paid off all their tickets and
And I thought I did good by even paying what I paid, so.
fees for them and let them, basically sell me. They sold me a car that they told me they owned that they didn't.
I don't know, she had this conspiracy theory about, me and my cousin, we're in cahoots to, get this money from her or something. I really don't know, to be honest.
Oh no, he's just throwing stones. They did this. They intentionally sold me a car they didn't own. and they started it, so.
Yeah, it's really just her. I don't know why she has to put this strain on us.
I will not be loaning cousins money or buying anything from cousins ever again.
I think that the plaintiff made out pretty well in that case. I mean, I'm certain that the accident was unpleasant, but it wasn't unpleasant enough to require any hospitalization. And she got $19,000 for pain and suffering and injury from an insurance company because she was probably hit in the rear. This guy paid her, he says $4,000. She says $23,000 from what he gave her and this hit in the rear that she got $19,000 for. And then she drove around in a Mercedes that she purchased for 9 months for free. I just thought that that was sort of unconscionable for not adding in that period of time that she had full use of the car. And it's also buttresses what we talk about all the time, which is you want to bring a case, bring it timely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a reason that you're not supposed to wait 5 years before you bring a claim.
I agree.
Are you a victim of a scam? Go to justice.tv.
She was bitten.
Yeah. And so that's when it just started to escalate. She was dragging my dog to the car.
What are you doing?
I got nervous and scared. I was like, please let my dog go. She marched up to me and she grabbed my arm and she shook me.
There are so many pieces to this case, it's like a puzzle.
This is Judy Justice. Mary Ann Sullivan is suing her former business partner, Kayla Phillips, for dog show costs, boarding fees, and RV storage.
Court come to order. All rise. Hello, Judge.
Be seated, please.
Case 1038 Sullivan versus Phillips.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, there are so many pieces to this case, it's like a puzzle. I'm going to have to separate it a little bit at a time. Miss Sullivan, you're involved in probably breeding and showing dogs.
Yes.
What kind of dogs?
Berger Picards and French Bulldogs, and I co-own a Beauceron.
Do you have pictures of those dogs?
Yes, I
I'd
do.
like to see. I know what a French Bulldog looks like. I'm just curious to see what the others look like.
I have a picture of Beauceron, and this is a picture of my Westminster top 10 Berger Picard. They're both herding dogs.
Handsome. Handsome. Okay, and what kind of dogs are you involved in?
I have Beaucerons and Connie Corzos.
Okay, this is what I gather. The two of you met at some sort of a show, and you became friends. You, Miss Sullivan, who had been in the business for a long time, decided that you would mentor the defendant, and you had a house trailer,
An RV.
that Miss Sullivan allowed you to move on to her property. And on your property, you said you keep dog kennels because in addition to showing dogs, you also, I assume, board them.
I just was starting to board them when Kayla moved over.
That would have been a good thing to have someone assist you because you do traveling and you do traveling for shows, whatever. Anyway, so it sounded as if it was a good idea to work out. Your lawsuit has several parts. There came a parting of the ways of the two of you that was unpleasant, and that had to do with the fact that Miss Phillips was boarding dogs for someone else for a fee, Dobermans, I believe, and she went off to do a show with one of her dogs, asked you, and you agreed to mind those dogs. I assume you were getting paid for taking care of those dogs. Some of your dogs were injured. You tried to intervene. You were bitten by one of the dogs. Miss Phillips didn't come home fast enough for you. She said, I will come home when I finish the show. She came home. There was another bit of a kerfuffle where you allege she assaulted you by pushing you. You weren't injured, but it's part of your counterclaim, so that's nonsense. And she left. You claim that she owes you for several things. You claim that she owes you for an RV hookup, which I assume means whatever she did with her RV, almost like rent. Miss Phillips says there was never an agreement for rent. You never discussed rent with her when she moved her RV onto your property. Number two, you say she owes you her share of a trip to the National Dog Show, which you covered expenses for, and you also want the money that she received for boarding the Dobermans, because you were the one who watched them and not her. She has a counterclaim. She says you owe her money for dog show fees. She says you assaulted her, which is nonsense, and I don't understand what photography services you're talking about. I think it's all of nonsense, but I will get to it and dispose of it quickly. Tell me about the arrangements for hookup fees and rent when she moved in, and tell me the date she moved her RV onto your property.
She moved on April 12th of this year.
On what date did she move out?
She moved out on the 17th of May.
And so 1 month she stayed?
Yes.
And what was she supposed to pay you for putting her RV on your property?
The RV, I'm going to let that month go, but when she left under the circumstances, I let her know that I was going to start charging her the going rate of $40 a day for storage.
You mean when she left?
And then she didn't...
Just say, just because you told her that you were going to start to charge her doesn't mean that you had a contract. Did she say, okay? Did she say, I agree to that?
No. We didn't speak after the dog attack and she left.
Well, then that's not a contract. If she left her stuff there, you could have disposed of it. What did you do with her stuff?
Well, she told me I was extorting her and got the cops, and I allowed her dad to...
Just a second, did they pick up the stuff? Fine. Well, you didn't have a contract with her. You can't have a contract made by one side. A contract has to be the meeting of the minds with two people. So let's get over that nonsense. Now, how much money were you supposed to give her for your share of going to the National Dog Show?
Originally, our agreement was that she was going to use her companion ticket with Alaska, and that was going to be $100. And in return for that, I was showing her dog for her at the National Dog Show.
Okay, so she was going to use her companion ticket, plus you were going to give her $100.
No, the companion ticket was going to be a fee of $100 through Alaska at her purchase price for the ticket.
Did you work for the airlines?
No, I did not. Here's the bills with her name on it for her ticket and the
May I see
upgrade
it?
to have the dog at the hotel.
I'm listening, I'm adding and listening.
And that's when she marched up to me and she grabbed my arm that was holding the keys with one hand and my shirt with the other, and she shook me and she was like, give me my keys, and cursed at me.
So you reached in to the car and you got out her car keys?
I did.
Mary Ann Sullivan claims her former business partner, Kayla Phillips, is for the cost of dog shows and boarding fees. Kayla is countersuing for dog showing fees and an assault.
I'm listening.
So
I'm adding and listening.
Originally, the agreement was that I would show her dog for her while we went. And then after the fact that we agreed on the dates, she then informed me that the ticket was $650 instead of our agreed upon $100.
Well, if she didn't get it, she didn't get it. Mm-hmm. Okay. Did you make any payments to her?
No.
With regard?
She didn't inform me that she had actually paid the $650 for the ticket, and she did that without consulting me first, because I made it clear that I wasn't wanting to spend those expenses to go to the dog show in the first place.
What else? Boarding fees. What kind of boarding fees are you talking about?
She charged $2,000 a dog to board and train, which was $66 a day for her. I charged $35 a day to take care of a dog and kennel him. So 10 days that I took care of, I'm only taking her for the 2 Dobermans, because I took care of her 4 dogs and 7 goats.
Well, just a second. Did you have an agreement with regard to that? Is my question.
Yes, she said that we would...
Let's go back. Tell me what agreement you had, when it was made, where it was made, what the discussion was.
We both agreed.
No, not we both agreed. That's a conclusion.
We discussed that
when?
The month before she moved in.
The month before she moved in,
if I took
you
care
said
of the
to
dogs, I would get a board fee of the days that I was alone with the dogs when she was traveling, and then she would get the rest while she was there.
Did you have that discussion with her?
No. We didn't actually discuss anything because when I approached her about discussing what our plan was, I got shuffled off like, oh, we'll talk about it next week. So we never officially discussed anything.
Well, how could you talk about boarding the month before she moved in?
She had planned to bring the Dobermans with her.
Were you permanently taking care of the Dobermans?
No.
When did you start to take care of the Dobermans?
The 13th of April.
So the Dobermans came in with you the day after you moved onto the property.
Yeah, they arrived with their owner, but it wasn't just me. Like, this was a joint thing that we were trying to start, but she wasn't very communicative about our agreement with the dogs and doing all the training and stuff, except when I left for the dog show.
And you left for the dog show on what date?
I left on the 14th of May.
All right, so let me try to understand this, Miss Phillips. I want you to explain to me what you brought to the table. So far, she's giving you the property on which to put your RV so that you can live. She's providing the property and the kennels for your own dogs and for dogs that you're going to be boarding. She's providing the expenses to travel to the dog show.
So,
Airfare, hotel, fees for registering the dog. You must have gotten paid from the Doberman owners.
I did.
You did. And how much did you get paid?
$2,000.
A day? A month?
Per month.
Was that for both dogs?
Per dog.
Per dog. So you got $4,000 for the month.
I was also in charge of their expenses while they're there, their food.
So you got $4,000.
Plus she had a
and
German Shepherd.
Their titling.
How much of the $4,000 did you share with the plaintiff?
None.
Take a breath. How much?
None.
None. Okay. So now I'm still confused. When you left on May 14th, you left her in charge of the dogs for just those 4 days. And the dog that you went to show was your dog or her dog?
I brought 5 dogs with me. I delivered one of her puppies to their puppy owner on my way down there.
Whose dogs were they?
They are all either owned or co-owned by me.
Owned by you and co-owned with the plaintiff or someone else? What's
with someone else. I did bring
so
our
you
co-owned
brought
dog. One of them was our co-owned dog.
Okay, is that
But she
correct?
was only there to get her eyes tested, not to be shown.
But she brought
Yes.
her.
Yes, she
And
did.
she was in charge of her.
Yes.
Okay. And was that a trip that you went to by car or by air?
By car.
How far was it?
It's a 6-hour drive.
Okay, so far you owe her $650. And how much do you think she owes you for kenneling the dogs?
I figured that she made $4,000 for both the dogs. I took care of both dogs for 10 days.
No, did you make a contract with her?
Okay, but I
don't care what you figured.
Okay,
Do you
but
understand?
she was going to pay me board if I took care of her paid dogs.
Is that correct?
No, because we never discussed it.
No, I don't believe that that's true. She owes you $650. And let's get to your counterclaim.
Well, I also, when I was at the property,
Just a second. Now, the counterclaim, dog show fees, what is that about?
so when I show her dogs for her,
Not when. Give me a date. A date you showed her dog for her and she didn't pay you a fee.
I showed the dogs January 16th to the 19th.
I'm not interested.
Okay.
Keep going. Anytime. After April, when
After
you all
April.
decided to move in. Yes, together. Let's go.
None.
No.
I
Nothing.
did not show her dogs.
Okay, good. What are photography fees?
So I took professional photos of her 4 weeks.
Perfect. So you had no contract. Now you're
Yes,
going to
but
describe.
it's
Now you're
under-
going to describe the assault.
So when I returned back from the dog show, it was late. It was almost midnight.
10 o'clock. I was up.
So I got there. I got all the dogs settled in, and I went to bed. I got up in the morning, got up around 6:30. I took care of all of the animals, all my dogs and the goats that were on the property. And I then was putting all the dog show stuff away. And she came out, and I waved, and I was carrying a crate, finished putting that away. By the time I came back out of the shed, putting things away, was walking back into the house. I went in to my RV. She texted me, like, I'm really sad you're avoiding me, and to come out, and she needed the money from the puppy.
Did you give her the money for the puppy?
I gave her the money.
How much was the puppy?
The puppy was a total of $3,500, but I think that there was only $3,000 in cash because the deposit had already been paid of $500. And so I gave her that, and when I came out to give that to her, she was in her truck, and I go up, and I said, I was hoping that we could talk this afternoon about everything that happened when I was gone.
Everything you mean the fight where she was bitten?
Yeah, the fight that she separated incorrectly. And talk about that, and she cut me off, and she was like, Kayla, I am the most important thing in your life, and I feel very unimportant because you did not come in this morning to take care me or my animals.
Okay. What do you mean she tried to push you? Either she pushed you or not.
She did push me and I just sat down so I didn't fall off the steps, trying to get into the RV to get the dog out that she thought she was.
But she didn't.
She did not, no, because I sat down and then she couldn't move me after that.
Mary Ann Sullivan has accused her former business partner, Kayla Phillips, of moving off her property without paying her share of dog show costs and boarding fees.
Keep going.
And at that point, it kind of just escalated to the point where she was kind of just talking about everything that she didn't like about how I was there and when I was there and everything like that. And I said, Marianne, I'm really sorry that I made you feel unimportant. That wasn't my intention. And that, I understand that it's not working and it's okay. And I'm happy to go home. And then she decided that she wanted our co-owned Beauceron dog Scout back. And I told her that that wasn't our agreement because 2 weeks before I moved, she called me and verbally returned the dog saying that she couldn't handle the dog anymore. And so that's when it just started to escalate because I refused to give the dog to her. And then she decided to take one of my dogs instead. So she went in and got my dog and was dragging my dog to the car. And got nervous and scared. And so I had her truck keys in my hands and I was holding them and I was like, please let my dog go. Like, this situation is making me entirely uncomfortable and I think we just need to take a deep breath and talk about it when you get back. I'll be here. And that's when she marched up to me and she grabbed my arm that was holding the keys with one hand and my shirt with the other. And she shook me and she was like, give me my keys, and cursed at me. And I just kind of held them as far as I could away from my body. She let go of my arm to grab the key and I slipped the leash off the dog. The dog immediately came behind me and I went to my RV and got on the steps and just stood in front of them and I repeated that I was uncomfortable with the situation, that I was getting scared and that I think that we just need to take a breather. And that's when she tried to push me out of the way off the steps of the RV.
What do you mean she tried to push you? Either she pushed you or not.
She did push me and I just sat down so I didn't fall off the steps.
Okay.
And trying to get into the RV to get the dog out that she thought she was.
But she didn't.
She did not, no, because I sat down and then she couldn't move me after that.
Okay. And then she left in her truck.
After yelling at me for several minutes.
Okay, but she left in her truck.
She did.
Okay, and then you left.
Well, I called several people. I called my mom and one of my good friends because I was living a very sheltered life. I've never been treated like that by another person ever.
Okay. But you left that day.
I did leave that day.
And did you leave the RV?
I did.
So you left the RV on the property?
Yes.
And what about the dogs?
I took all the dogs and I took my goats.
And where did you take them?
I took them to my mom's house in Washington.
Okay. When did you come back for the RV?
I messaged her that evening saying that I was really sad about the situation and that I was thinking of her. Then the next day, I texted her saying that my dad would be, because my dad has the truck that can pull the RV because it's a fifth wheel. And I told her, I said, my dad would be back this week from Arizona and that I could come on Saturday to come receive it. And she responded was, all contact will be through my lawyer moving forward. And then I never heard from her again.
When did you go and get the RV?
So she sent me a certified letter saying that it was abandoned.
Can I see the letter?
Yeah.
I see. You must have the letter. Where's the letter? It's a copy of the letter.
Well, the letter was sent to not my house. So it was sent to my grandparents' house in Boring, Oregon.
That's the address you used?
Okay. That I will be 6:30 days at best with it. Okay, so on June 21st, you wrote to her that it's been 30 days without arrangements of money owed and removal. Per Oregon statute, I have to inform you of the removal. If you wish to get the items, please bring cash. On Saturday, that will be $5,000. Okay. Did she finally remove the RV?
Her father removed most of her contacts that day and was to come back Monday or Tuesday, and he did not come back to get the rest of her stuff.
So what did you do with the rest of her stuff?
I put it out on the road, and people picked it up.
Okay, but he removed the RV?
Yes.
Very unfortunate.
I actually have a sworn statement from my dad.
I don't read sworn statements.
Because he did talk
Just a
to
second. I don't read sworn statements, and you can't tell me what he said, because that's hearsay. And you don't have a on a counterclaim. You do owe her $650 for the cost of going to the dog show. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished. Thank you very much. Court adjourned.
This way, ma'am.
I think that Marianne, when I moved to the property, assumed that I was going to be taking care of everything on the property and not just maintaining the business that we were trying to start together.
Actually, I did a lot more work. She worked with the dogs, and not every day, which she was charging for.
Extremely upset that I didn't conform to how she felt like I should handle the situation, and unfortunately, that just wasn't possible.
And I had him 10 of the 30 days, so there wasn't a lot of training going on. And, I learned that I don't want to take care of another person.
Well, now we'll see her when I see her.
Well, I won't do that again, and I am very sorry that I was such a poor judge of character.
That case showed that one important thing I learned in law school is that you can't make a contract with yourself. You can't decide terms and make an agreement and sign it one-sided.
Yeah, that's true. And that's true even if the terms are reasonable. And plaintiff had perfectly reasonable terms, but they were agreed to only with herself. So you need to...
Mutual assent.
Yes, mutual consent to make a contract. And there has to be an offer, acceptance, and consideration. That's what we learned. So that didn't quite cut it anyway. It was a business relationship that didn't work out. It only was for a month, so nobody lost anything. And they were both very nice people. Yeah. All turned out okay.
Have you been cheated? Go to judyjustice.tv.
You made a child together.
Yes, ma'am.
Every once in a while, you fight with her, and she kicks you out. And then she lets you back in, right?
Right.
And you have a fight, and she kicks you out. Making the same mistake over and over and over again. You can't get along. Don't live together. You have a child who's growing up with two crazies.
This is Judy Justice. Dale Eber is suing his former girlfriend and the mother of their daughter, Ginger Gibbons, for wrongful eviction and the value of his property.
Court come to order.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 1160, Eber versus Gibbons.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, Mr. Eber.
Yes, ma'am.
I know there's a saying about somebody who doesn't learn from experience. They keep making the same mistake over and over and over again. And I read your complaint. You and the defendant had a long-standing relationship only through the fact that you made a child together. That child is now how old?
6.
Every once in a while, you sort of float in, and then you fight with her, and she kicks you out. And you stay out for a few months, and then she lets you back in, right?
Right.
And you're together for a little bit, and you have a fight, and she kicks you out. And then you're out, and you live in your truck, you stay with friends, whatever it is. And then you come back. According to your complaint, probably happened more often, but it happened recently in the last couple of years 3 times.
Yes, ma'am.
And so the first thing that you are alleging is that she has committed on 3 separate occasions, recently, probably happened many times in the past, wrongful eviction.
Right.
Couple of questions before I actually put the 4th line through this wrongful eviction claim. In any of the recent times that she gave you the boot, were you on the lease?
No.
How could she evict you if you were on the lease?
Well, I moved in there with her when she moved in.
lived with her from day one.
From day one, what is day one? Give me day one.
February of 2020.
Well, February of 2020, your daughter was 5, and you were not on the lease.
No.
And how long did you live there before she threw you out?
3 or 4 months.
Okay, then you had a fight.
Yeah.
On the lease, they tossed you out.
Right.
How did you get back?
I was living in my car. I had nowhere to go. So, I mean,
Okay,
it was
so you were living in your car, you had nowhere to go, and?
Well, we had both lost everything in the campfire, so we were, we both moved in there together. When she started collecting welfare, I was still living there and helping, you know.
This is much too much information for me, sir. When you moved back in with her, that was after she had thrown you out once.
Right.
Did you say, I'll move back in with you, but I want to be on the lease?
No.
No. So that you knew from the first time that if the police were called, she's going to say, he's not on the lease, and he doesn't live here. So you moved back in with her, with your daughter, because your daughter remained with her.
Right.
In what month?
I can't really recall the dates.
Well, I certainly don't remember. She doesn't have to help you. And then she threw you out again. Were the police called?
Yes, I've called the cops every time that we've had a problem with their drug use.
Okay, you called the police.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that that's a yes.
Yes.
And when the police came, they told you to leave, and you left.
Yep.
Yep is a yes.
Yes, sorry.
And then you went and stayed in your car again.
Right.
For how long?
A couple months.
How'd you get back in?
The third time I didn't. It was the last time. I bought an RV.
Well, so far I know 2 times, so it's only 2 times that she threw you out.
There's more than it was more than twice.
Let's move on to something else where you might be more successful. Return of rent. What rent do you want?
I have evidence right here of monies that I've given her.
I don't care what money you gave her. When you paid rent the months that you were living there.
Yeah, well, I paid in advance for months. I paid $17.50 at one time.
Just a second. In what year?
This one was December 31st of 2020, right when she moved in there to help her move in.
Good. You mean with your daughter?
Right.
Do you regularly pay child support, Mr. Eber?
Yeah, this is part of the child support. She was collecting welfare fraudulently and not reporting the money I was giving her.
That's terrible. When did you find that out?
When they started garnishing or taking money out of my bank account.
You mean you didn't know that she was collecting welfare
No.
before that?
No.
How did you think she was supporting herself?
I gave her half my welfare money. There was $4,800 that I got, and I gave her $3,000.
You gave her half of your welfare money?
Yeah, I gave her most of it.
Just a second.
Yeah. Yes, I did.
Just a second. I need an eraser go like this. I need to erase my brain. She gets welfare for herself and your daughter.
Right.
And you get welfare for you.
No.
Well, what do you mean you give her half your welfare money?
I'm a painting contractor, and then
No,
half of my wildfire money from losing
wildfire.
Wildfire money.
Was that what he said?
I heard welfare.
I heard
said
welfare.
wildfire.
You have to be careful.
Sorry.
She's the stenographer.
Okay.
She, thank God, you heard what I heard. Half of your wildfire money.
And that was
Just
like over.
Just a second. Wildfire money. That's a new one. Look it up. Wildfire money. This wildfire was the Paradise Fires.
Yes, ma'am.
And you were living together during the Paradise Fires?
Yes.
In what kind of establishment?
In her parents' house.
So you were living with Miss Gibbons in her parents' house with your daughter?
Right.
And the wildfires destroyed your parents' house? No.
No, it had damages, but they had to fix those, and then they put it on the market shortly after and sold it.
There was a fire. I don't know if I could look into the insurance proceeds of what was paid.
Then for curiosity, Mr. Eber, who did you get money from?
The Northern, I forget the name of it, but we got, I think it was $10,000. Everybody that was evacuated or that was in the fire.
So you got $10,000?
Right. And so did
for being dispossessed from her parents' home?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I lost my business in the fire.
No. Those are separate things. If you lost your business in the fire, that's another thing. Where was your business located?
Paradise, California.
Okay, and that's separate from where her parents were?
Right.
Okay. And what was the name of the business?
Dale's Painting.
Dale's Painting. Where are you located now?
The business is located I haven't changed the address to the new address.
Let's move on, Mr. Ebert, to something else, please. Your personal nonsense has nothing to do with courts. And if you want to have a discussion with somebody about your personal business, go to a counselor, go to Dr. Phil. It's nonsense. Courts don't care about it.
And later today,
Who is going to speak for the two of you?
I will.
She gave you a look.
Okay, better ask again.
Who's going to speak for you?
I am.
Good.
Make sure you didn't give me that look.
Dale Ebert claims his former girlfriend and the mother of their daughter, Ginger Gibbons, owes for evicting him multiple times and damaging his property. Ginger is countersuing for an assault.
Okay, let's move on to replacement value of damaged property. Because as you see, I'm singularly unimpressed with the other parts of your complaint. Replacement...
Put all my stuff out on her patio.
What stuff?
My clothes, my DVDs, my computer.
On what date did she put your stuff out?
I don't know the dates, because she's the one that put them out. She knows that.
Well, on what date were you missing your clothes? Was it the same day you were missing your computer?
No, actually, I had left my computer there. Well, she had put my computer out with my clothes. It was all soaking wet. Yeah, that was the same day I was missing the computer.
Okay. You have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim is for assault, primarily for assault. So I have a couple of questions because clearly people have nothing better to do than to come here. I, on the other hand, have better things to do. I read your answer and I read your counterclaim. You say in January 2021, he grabbed your purse, claimed that you had drugs, and grabbed me by the hands, and you ended up spraining your pinky. Then I'm jumping forward to May of 2021, when you say I filed a restraining order against him because he crossed the line. That's what you wrote in your answer, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you a simple question. My question to you is between January 21st, 2021, and on or about May, did Mr. Ebert live with you?
No.
When did he leave?
It was at the time, right around the time of the assault.
Well, what happened between January and May?
I did file a restraining order on that incident, and he convinced me to not go through with it. And
just a second. How did he convince you?
He threatened me mostly.
No. Well, tell me.
That he.
Where? Just a second.
I'm sorry.
I want you to tell me. Where was he when he convinced you? Was he on the phone? Was he on texts? Was he on email? Was he in person? Where was he when he convinced you not to go forward?
In multiple areas.
Well, multiple areas.
So I have text messages, you have emails, and phone conversations.
What about in person? What about him?
Face-to-face, no.
Between January 2021 and now, has he been in your home?
No.
Have you been in his home?
No.
So where have you met?
Either outside of the apartment. Actually, I haven't been able to get him to cooperate with any kind of scheduling or anything like that. He pretty much comes and goes as he pleases.
Comes and goes where?
Well, I mean, to the house or whatever to see the baby. Actually, he has not been allowed to come around because he, as of May.
I have to tell you about courts, both of you. We're busy. And your personal nonsense has nothing to do with courts. And if you want to have, go to a counselor, go to Dr. Phil, go to somebody who can negotiate visitation, spend some of your wildfire money on a therapist who can help you negotiate how to raise and co-parent this little girl, because you have a little girl together.
Can I address her restraining order?
I'm throwing it out.
Okay.
It's nonsense. The whole thing is nonsense. Your case is nonsense. Her case is nonsense. Courts don't care about it. You can't get along, don't live together, but don't keep torturing each other. Because in the process of torturing each other, what you're doing is you have a child who's a baby, who's growing up with two crazies. She keeps letting you come back in. She tosses you out. You come back in. You float in and out. She may act responsibly if you have a legitimate claim with regard to her parenting skills.
I do.
What you do is you go to family court and you file a petition so that a judge can set a visitation schedule with your child if you want visitation. And if you have a legitimate complaint with her with regard to parenting, because you have a complaint that she is a substance abuser, go to family court and file for custody of your daughter. No.
I got all the papers right here.
You've got what?
All the papers and proof that she's the aggressive person.
No, listen to me. You're not listening. You're floating around in the air. You're in the wrong place. You're in a place where you want money. And what I'm telling you is, if you have a legitimate complaint with regard to her parenting skills, go to family court, where they will not award you money. They will award you custody if you're right. Right now, all you're doing is what my grandmother would say, you're blepturing. You're complaining about her, and you're not putting your money where your mouth is. You want to put your money where your mouth is about a legitimate complaint about her being an unfit parent, and you would be a better parent for your daughter. Go to family court, where you're not seeking $10,000, where you're seeking the right thing for your child. Do you understand?
Yes.
Perfect. Goodbye.
Court is adjourned.
I don't know. I guess she's right.
I understand completely.
Well, it's mainly her substance abuse.
I do not have a substance abuse problem.
The neglect to my daughter.
I have all the love in the world for my daughter, of course.
Destroy my personal property, and every time she's thrown me out.
Good parents for our daughter. Absolutely, that would be great.
Sarah, we talk about this all the time, and it's something that I think I've probably said a million times. You have to love those children more than you hate each other, because that's your responsibility. It's as much of a responsibility for their emotional health as it is to put food on the table. This tumultuous toddler period, which isn't going to get better.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Case number 1148, Castillo versus Signs. All parties, please step forward.
Ralph and Raquel Castillo are suing photographer Tirsu Sainz for the return of their deposit.
Mr. and Mrs. Castillo, who is going to speak for the two of you?
I will.
She gave you a look.
Okay, better ask again.
Who's going to speak for you?
I am.
Good.
Make sure you didn't give me that look.
Yeah. Mr. Castillo, this is your daughter.
Yes.
And she was going to have a celebration. I think it's for her 15th birthday.
Yes.
And that has a special name.
Correct, quinceañera.
Quinceañera. Tell me about the genesis of that celebration. Why 15?
It's a celebration of a transition of a young girl into a young adult.
Okay. We walk in, they say, can somebody help us? We have pictures that are locked in our phone. And some young person comes over, 1, 2, 3, and voila, 50 pictures. It's like magic, it's like a genie.
Ralph and Raquel Castillo claim photographer Tirsu Sainz is wrongfully keeping their deposit after their daughter's quinceañera was canceled.
Okay, what's your daughter's first name?
Victoria.
Unfortunately for Victoria, she was celebrating her 15th birthday during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But prior to that, you had hired the defendant to do the photography and videography for the quinceañera.
Correct.
In what month was your daughter supposed to celebrate her birthday, sir?
April.
And you retained the defendant's services on what date?
November 15th of 2019.
When did you finally retain him? Because you came to a figure, and the figure that you came to with him was $750.
When we gave him the deposit.
Of $750?
$750.
And what was the total amount to be?
$1,750.
Case is a relatively simple one. The party had to be canceled because of COVID restrictions.
Correct.
And you tried to get a refund from Mr. Sainz?
Yes.
And you were unsuccessful in getting a refund from him. And then it was your daughter's 16th birthday.
Yes.
And since she missed her 15th big celebration, you thought that the family could now have a smaller celebration in April of 2021, and you asked Mr. Sainz if he would take photographs of that.
Yes.
Where was that held?
At our home. to having a party.
When you called him to come and take those pictures of her 16th birthday, tell me about the conversation with regard to payment.
Well, we had asked them if we would be able to get a refund, but if we could work something out where we can maybe get a few photos and maybe deduct something from the refund, since he was having a hard time coming up with the money. And he said, don't worry, I'll take care of you.
Okay, so without any further discussion, you had him come to your home and take photographs on...
It was actually January.
Got it. Okay, so he came to the house in January. What time did you get to the house, Mr. Saints?
About 1:30, 1:45.
And what time did you leave?
It was maybe 3:30, 4 o'clock or so.
And during that 2-hour period, he was there primarily taking photographs of yourself, your wife, and your daughter.
Correct.
When he left, he told you he would provide you with photographs.
Correct.
Did he do that?
Partially.
When you say partially, what did he provide you with?
53 pictures and 2 minutes and 53 seconds of video on email.
Yeah, that's the way people do it these days.
Correct.
Okay, so you have those photographs?
Not physically. He said that we can go to Walmart and have them printed.
Okay, do you have the photographs?
I have some photographs.
May I see them, please? Did you go to Walmart and have them printed?
We never got the thumb drive that he promised.
Just a second. Mr. Saints, did you deliver them a thumb drive?
I emailed all the photos and the video.
Okay. Well, these are beautiful photographs, sir. Did you look at all the photographs that he emailed you?
Yes.
Well, they're lovely, and you look beautiful.
Thank you.
Mr. Castillo, you were asking for your refund of your deposit. He was at your house for 2 hours. He sent you 53 photographs. He took video. Why would you think that you're entitled to your deposit back? For $750, he came to your house, which means he traveled to your house. I don't know where you live. Where do you live?
Corona.
Where do they live?
I like Marita. It's about an hour.
So he had an hour travel time each way. That's 2 hours. And he spent 2 hours with you. In addition to that, he provided you with 50 photographs that I assume had to have some work done on them, because they always do. And he provided you with video. So the man worked for 4 hours and he provided you with a product. Why in the world do you think he is responsible for giving you $750 back?
Well, because we only received 2 minutes and 53 seconds of video.
And
53 pictures and no thumb drive.
Well,
how are we going to print up the pictures that you have in your hand? Well, the thumb drive to take the...
Listen, I am so challenged when it comes to doing that. I am so challenged. But I know if you send them by email, do that, Mr. Castillo, for old people in Florida. We go in there as if we haven't a clue. We walk in, they say, can somebody help us? We have pictures that are locked in our phone. And we don't know how to work this machine. And some young person comes over and 1, 2, 3, they shove something from your phone into a machine and they press a couple of buttons and voila, out spits out 50 pictures. It's like magic. It's like a genie. And then you say, thank you very much. You give them $20 for their trouble. And that's how you, Mr. Castillo, that's how you do it. You take the email, you take it in, and you say to them, I have this. Could you help me? I'm old and I'm like Judge Scheindlin. I don't know what I'm doing. Could you fix it for me? Is there any way, Mr. Saints, just for my own information, is there any way that you can take this, because he seems to know something, because he said thumb drive. Now, I have heard that term before, and I actually know it looks like a fob or something. Is there any way that you could send him that?
I could, yeah.
Mr. Saints, I want you to be a saint. That might be easier for him. Because what he says is, if he had that, he would know what to do with it. He doesn't know what to do with it with an email, okay?
Yeah, definitely.
Would you take care of that?
Of course.
How long will that take you to take care of that, to send him a thumb?
You'll get it in 2 days in his house.
Promise me?
I swear.
Very good. You have no case against him, Mr. Castillo. Your case is dismissed. You get that to him. Otherwise, I'm coming to for you.
You got it.
Thank you.
Court is adjourned.
All right. I feel that if we would have got the thumb drive from the very beginning instead of waiting all these years, we wouldn't be here today.
I am very happy with the decision that Judge Judy made.
Finally, we'll get some, end result with the work he put into it, and we'll actually physically have it so we can use it.
I'll send the thumb drive to Mr. Castillo. That way they'll get going with their life, and I will with mine.
All those people seemed lovely, and I think the plaintiffs were get their money back because they were unable, because of COVID, like so many other people, to have this special celebration. But I think that the deposit that they did pay is pretty similar to what they would have paid for this sort of photo shoot, for 50 or so photos, a little videography. They sort of canceled each other out, and I don't think the plaintiffs realized that until you pointed it out to them.
You know, sometimes you need somebody in life, you need somebody to blame for something. You can't blame COVID for the fact that your daughter didn't have this once-in-a-lifetime event of transitioning at age 15. So it was easier to blame this photographer. And they really got professional pictures, and they got professional pictures in their home, custom,
Once
with
he
a thumb
figures
drive.
out how to get it
Yes.
printed.
Yes, with a thumb drive for $700, I think.
TheJudyJustice.tv.